the dirty side to the stock market.
So welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Thomas, and in this video, I want to go over the dirty side of the stock market, the stuff that no one really talks about, but those who've been around, those who start to see this stuff, who are more active in their trading, they kind of know what goes on behind the scenes. They know how this stuff works. They know how people are making a lot of money. They know how people are losing a lot of money as well. So when it comes down to it, this example, we're going to talk about a small cap stock. We're going to talk about small cap stocks in general. You can call them small cap stocks. You can call them penny stocks, whatever you want to call them. You may have heard about them from somebody on YouTube. You may have heard about them from me, or you may have heard about them from your mother, your grandmother, your parents, or your friend, or your teacher that said, stay far away from penny stocks. Don't touch those things. Well, first off, guys, I want to tell you that when it comes down to trading penny stocks, it's a type of trading. You can trade it. It doesn't mean you're investing in the company. You can trade these stocks and people make money on these stocks, and the market's there for a reason. And so there's opportunity everywhere. But today we're going to be diving into what can happen with these small cap stocks, these low float stocks in particular, and how they can be manipulated. Now, this is not going to be your pump and dump, like, oh my gosh, this guy on Twitter, said this and the stock went crazy and it was fake news. No, this is going to be, a behind the scenes orchestrated event that caused a stock to go up over 100% in the after hours here on Monday, April 5th. Now, this may seem dirty, but I want to make sure you understand that this stuff happens. And if you see this happen again, you're at least able to kind of rationalize what's going on so that you don't get caught on the wrong side and get screwed. As somebody here in this case definitely got caught on the wrong side and got screwed. So with that said, make sure you guys are jumping down, subscribing to the channel, hitting that thumbs up button. I appreciate every single one of you guys for doing so. The platform up behind me, which we're about to dive into, is Webull. You can get 2 free stocks with the platform when you deposit $100. We use it here every single day. It's what I use. And today is the last day of that 20% off for tip rank sale. There'll be a link in the description box down below if you want to take advantage of that. It's a platform I'm also using for my research. So with that out of the way, let's dive into this dirty trick that people are pulling here in the stock market. So enter ticker symbol BTX. Brooklyn Immunotherapeutics. Okay, so here we go. We got Brooklyn Immunotherapeutics. Closed the trading day at $4.67. Actually, a pretty big bump towards the end of the day. Now, they recently merged with ticker symbol NTN, where NTN did a 1-for-2 reverse stock split. And that merger happened on the 25th of March. Let's dive into the computer now. I'll show you guys what happened, and then we can explain it step by step, showing you guys how this happened and how this thing went up over 100% with no news whatsoever. All right, guys, so here we are on the Webull platform. We can see that today we had that merger right here back on the 26th. That's when it went through. And today, look at this volume. We had over 4.6 million shares traded by this volume bar right here, which was abnormal for ticker symbol BTX over the past couple of days, for sure. For example, back on the 1st of April, this stock only traded 48,000 shares, okay? So something crazy happened towards the end of the day, and we want to figure out what that was. Taking a look at the 1-minute chart right now, what we can see here, we're looking at April 5th. What happened? Not much volume throughout the day, but guess what? Towards the end of the day, we zoom in, the last 10, 15 minutes of the market being open, really the last 1 minute to say the least. The last couple minutes, we start to see these volume bars picking up. What's going on? The stock starts pushing up in price and it's up, 50, 60 cents very, very fast. Now, real quick, I'm going to refer to Nathan over with Investors Live because he actually has a screenshot. Now, I saw this happen live, but I think his screenshot's easier to see for us on a bigger scale here. So we pulled this up. And what you can do is you can actually look at something called time and sales, and you can see all the sales that go through and at what time. So guess what happens here? Now, in his screenshot here, this example, it's actually pulling out a new high of the day. So it's not exactly what we're looking for in terms of time and sales, but pretty much what you can see here is that you're looking at the volume come pouring on in here for BTX at the last couple minutes, last seconds of the day. Take a look at this. We start seeing it hitting new highs of the day, 358.30. 358.42, 359.23. The stock is pushing up. It's a pretty significant percentage basis that it is pushing up. And the volume is pouring on in very, very quickly, amassing over 4.6 million shares traded by the end of the day, whereas for most of the day, it didn't even trade 100,000. So why is the stock price moving so much? Well, that actually, the answer could be over here on finviz.com. We take a look at Finviz, okay? The stock has a 6.86 million market cap, and the shares float is 1.08 million. That's how many shares are available to the public to trade. Do the math here. When you have an example of a stock that's trading more shares than its float, that stock can move. And when it trades that many shares in a very short period of time, that stock's going to be very volatile. If they're all buys, they're all market buys, or they're all pushing the stock to the upside and everyone's trying to get in, this can push the stock up quite a bit, quite fast. Then quickly after that, what do we see happen? The stock goes nuts, the stock pushes up into the after hours, and before long, the stock pushes up. It's up over 650. It pulls back to the VWAP, this white line right here at $6, and then runs on up after that, never touching VWAP again for quite some time, and hitting highs of 882 here in the after hours. And if we continue to push it all the way across, it still never tested this VWAP line, so looking very, very strong into the 6th of April. Now, what happens later on is a little bit besides the point of this video, but why did this happen and how could this possibly happen? Well, we talked a little bit about how. Super low float stock, somebody coming in with some big money, and that's all it really takes. It could be one person, it could be an organized effort by a few people. That's all it really takes, some big money, and you can move these stocks very, very fast with a super low float down around 1 million. Now, there was no news, there was no press release, and usually when this happens, you see a press release, you see some reason for the stock to push up. However, this is deemed as dirty because we saw that volume coming in the last couple of minutes of the market being open. Why does that matter? Well, guess what? We saw with Nathan's scanner, it starts hitting the high of the day. So when a stock hits the high of the day, many traders have these scanners that will detect a stock that hits a new high of the day. And when it hits a new high of the day, let me go take a peek. Why? Oh, look, the volume is coming in. Okay, is there news? And they start to dive in. Guess what happens in the after hours? As we say, the walls come down because in the after hours session, number one, you can't have those volatility halts that you see during the regular trading hours. And also the sellers and the asks that get stacked up many times are a lot thinner and they come down a lot easier. So in a sense, there's less resistance to the upside when a stock hits the after hours, especially when it has volume like BTX did towards the end of the day. That volume was quickly picked up in the early stages of the after hours. Whether it had news or not, new traders flooded into this stock because it had the volume and it was pushing up to the upside, and it was a super low float stock, so they know this thing can move fast, whether there's a real reason for it to move or there's not. Now you guys see what happened next. The rest is history. The stock goes up just about 100% in the after hours, and it's like, okay, how is this even legal? Well, this actually could be cracked down upon. So actually, many times, if brokers notice that you're doing something like this, they could crack down and stop you. But at the end of the day, understand that, hey, anybody could buy any stock at any point. These low float stocks have this potential to be manipulated in a sense because all it takes is somebody with a couple $100,000, a couple $1 million to want to be slap happy and start slapping these things on up. And once everybody else catches on, they're dumping their shares right into your hands. And in this case, it kind of worked out because the stock kept pushing on up. But many times it doesn't work out this well and it actually comes crashing on down. And you're the guy who's bought his 1,000 shares up way too high and now the stock's down 20% from where you bought and you're screwed and they're laughing, counting their money to the bank. It's also a massive short trap too, because if you see a stock like this in the after hour session with no news and no real reason for it to be running on up, other than volume, other than potentially some manipulation, you may see this as an easy short opportunity. Now, you may see it as an easy short opportunity, but when it's an easy opportunity, that's when the market says, no, 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 it's actually not. Everybody else piles on in, and the shorts get squeezed out even more. So there were some shorts that got absolutely toasted on this stock. I can almost guarantee that here today because it kind of set up as a perfect short. Now, in my eyes, it's not because you're playing with such a low float stock. I wouldn't want to mess with that on the short side because, of course, when shorting, your downside is technically unlimited. But this stuff is real, guys. This stuff happens, and hopefully you can kind of understand this stuff happens actually more often than you think. So if you see this happening again, now you kind of have a better explanation as to why. It's always fun to kind of dive into what's going on, why stocks are moving. And so I didn't touch this stock myself, but I saw it. I actually had an order in. If we go back into the after hours, a small order right here when it touched view up, I put my order in and immediately the stock started pushing up. So I missed my fill and the stock, pushed up from, over $2 from where that $6 order was. So yeah, maybe I could have made a few bucks in the trade, but I was playing with a small size just for fun because I thought it could be a decent opportunity for a VWAP bounce trade. If you took advantage of it, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And make sure to hit that thumbs up button, guys. That's all I ask of you. I really appreciate everyone who does so. It really helps with the algorithm, and it really helps so people can see these videos. And I always make sure to really hone in on something that's valuable, that either people didn't understand, to clarify something so that people are better off. That's ideally what it's all about here. It's not about selling you alerts or any of that stuff, so that you're you're better prepared to be more of a self-sufficient trader, because that's the name of the game here when it comes to trading on your own, trading in the stock market. Don't forget those 2 free stocks with Webull. That's this platform right here. If you actually get those 2 free stocks, you can trade stocks like BTX at 4 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m. Eastern. So you can take advantage of that full after hours and that full pre-market move, which many times a lot of these stocks like this, they're going to move pretty substantially in those periods of time. And then don't forget that first link in the description box, that 20% off to TipRanks, the best research analysis platform there is right now on the market when it comes to the stock market. That's how I do the bulk of my research these days when it comes to finding new stocks I'm looking to trade or invest in. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.